what was hard for me the last couple weeks was, and I think for a lot of people in our community, is the fires in Spokane. And I know a lot of people have rallied. Geese has been matching funds. I've seen a bunch of different local influencers and people up there taking, truckloads of supplies to our neighbors up there in that community. But anytime I see, I deal in people's largest asset generally. And when you see something happen like a big fire like this, I thought about what we could do. And I thought just a reminder about some of the safety issues that come along with home ownership and fires. And so we put in a call, and we've got, welcome to the show today. We've got Battalion Chief. Did I get that right?
You did.
Don Donne from Pasco Fire Department. Don, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We tricked him in getting here. We told him it was radio only, and then we busted out the cameras. And so he's not happy with me, but he did agree. He did agree to stay. Well, Don, I guess I always like to get a little bit of background on, you and your history. So tell us a little bit about, how you got to Battalion Chief. How long have you been with the department?
I've been with the department 35 years. I started back in April of 91. Obviously, the Tri-Cities was a little different town back then. City of Pasco was a lot different. We've grown quite a bit. It's been really cool to kind of see that development and see the growth of the department.
Yeah.
I've been a battalion chief probably, I think it's around 15 years now. It's been a fun career. It's fun to deal with the community in all different types of ways, and just to help out the community.
That's awesome. And what is like when you're battalion chief? Like, what's like primary responsibility there?
So we have 5 stations throughout the city of Pasco, and basically there's a captain in charge of each station, and then I'm in charge of each of the captains or each of the stations.
Okay, gotcha.
So on the daily on daily stuff, I'm basically in charge. The chief is the overall, but the battalion chief takes care of the stations and the battalions.
Gotcha. Okay. So, in light of what happened in Spokane, I thought it would be a good reminder to just talk about like some general fire safety in the home, and just at a minimum, like what can you tell people to do to be prepared for a fire in a home?
I would say the biggest thing that's going to give you the earliest warning is to make sure that your smoke detectors are working and in good condition. A lot of people don't realize that smoke detectors have a 10-year life. So as you build your house, you're in your house for a while, 10 or 15 years go by, you don't think too much about that until the one day that you do need your smoke detectors. We try to make sure when people call us, we have service calls that go out and checks people's smoke detectors because they start beeping. The battery is low. That gives us a good indicator. But a lot of times after that 10 years, they just will quit working.
Gotcha.
So it's a good idea to check your batteries, check the manufacturer date on your smoke detector. If that is out of that 10-year period, it'd be a good idea to get all new smoke detectors for the house.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wasn't until I owned a property management company that I knew that, and I was like, okay, yes, these things expire. I had been in real estate quite a while and didn't even know that, and then learned all the rules through property management. So, hey, I think that makes a lot of sense. That's really, really good advice. When we see these fires that happened in Spokane and what was going on there, a question that I just wrote down is, what's the biggest mistake that you see homeowners make, like on the exterior of their homes, because that's what was so scary about to watch those fires, how it jumped, from yard to yard or home to home. What is there anything people can do in those situations?
My advice would be just to keep your yard, your house, the outside, very well manicured. Have a green belt around it, and try to keep the bushes and that trimmed down and not right next to the house. Very flammable bushes like arborvitaes are very flammable. Animals, birds bring in dead debris, and if you've ever seen an arborvitae fire, it's pretty impressive just by how quickly it goes up. And if that's next to the house, it catches the house on fire really quickly, and doesn't give us much of a chance to stop it from getting interior.
Gotcha. I'm literally, while you're speaking, like I just have this reel of all these homes I've sold over the years, like running through my brain, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, yeah. We don't always think about that when we're out, especially on those smaller lots where things are tight.
Yeah, and especially like the arborvitaes or any vegetation outside, it may look green, but it's actually very, very flammable.
Okay, gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I know as a battalion chief, and like you said, you're kind of running that, like there's these large fires that we've had in the area, and multiple departments responding to like that. What all's involved in that? Like how is that communicated, and other departments are called? I mean, I don't really know the inner workings, but how do you guys manage all of that?
Well, when they get big enough, the state manages it. It's declared a state mobilization, and then there's an entity in the state that manages that. They put the call out for different departments that we can roster and say that we have a type 1, type 6, whatever type engine that's available for responses. And then it's they've got it pretty well set up. And the departments that are registered, then it's just a few phone calls, and they can get strike teams. They can get whatever they need headed that way.
Okay, so you guys will get that call from another agency,
Yeah.
and then some of your guys will go to that for sure.
Yeah. And just depending on what we have available, what's going on around here, obviously we have to maintain enough apparatus and personnel here to protect if anything happened here.
And now you talked a little bit briefly about some of the different, having your smoke detectors good to go and stuff, but what are some of the basic mistakes or majority of calls that you see? Like, where do they originate or come from when you go out for house fires?
House fires, I would say that we have a lot of people that are cooking, not paying attention to whether it's either on the stove or outdoors.
Okay.
Barbecues not well maintained, a lot of grease in them, dripping down on either the deck or the grass outside. Inside, we find a lot of people that are preoccupied with something else, and they're trying to cook, and they'll walk away, and then when they come back, they've got a kitchen fire or a grease fire going.
Gotcha. Yeah, pay just some basic stuff like paying attention.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. And with those, important to note in those grease fires, cooking fires?
The biggest thing, if you can, obviously put a lid over it, and it'll smother itself out.
Okay.
Same thing, kind of like the oven fires we were talking about before the show. Close the door. Don't leave the door open. Let that fire kind of smother itself out. Call the fire department. We'll come out. Those ovens are designed to hold heat. Obviously, your dinner's not going to be that good to eat, but it's usually done before the smoke detectors go off.
But the rest of the house will still be in good shape.
Do you see more fires from gas or charcoal barbecues? Is there a difference?
Charcoal barbecues, and I'm glad you brought that up. Charcoal barbecues, we see a few fires that are usually pretty devastating with people that use charcoal barbecues because the charcoal keeps that heat. A lot of times people think they're doing a good job the day after they've barbecued. They take that charcoal out and they'll put it in a plastic container or throw it in their BDI plastic garbage can. And then it'll sit there and smolder for a day or two. And then for whatever reason, it seems like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we get the phone call where the garage is on fire or the house is on fire because, and we can trace it back to that exact cause is taking those briquettes or the charcoal fire out and not putting it in a metal container, not filling that container up with water and making sure
breaking
that's
them
out.
up because they're all gray. You break them up and there's a thumb-sized little glowing nugget still in there, and that thing.
It's we don't see a whole lot of those, but usually those fires are pretty devastating because, like me or anybody else, my garbage can's right next to my house, probably not the safest spot. And if you did put that charcoal in there a day or two later, we have seen that it lights up your garbage, melts that can, and it's right on the exterior of your house. And at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, by the time somebody sees it, it's usually going really well.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Well, I had written down some notes because I happened to see, so just a couple of weeks ago, bordering Canyon Lakes, there was a huge brush fire. I think if anybody saw that night and saw it coming towards those homes, off of 45th and 47th up there, I wrote down there was no loss of structures. And I have to say, how was that even possible? And also thank you to all of you guys.
You
for
look
what
at
you
where
do
they stopped it. I mean, it's like
responding, but
wow.
Is that just preparedness, or what are the factors that make that successful? Because if you saw those flames that night, I was like, there's no freaking way.
Yeah, the wind was driving that fire pretty quickly. Everybody that was on that fire did a really good job. They have dozer lines that they got up quick and got around that.
Okay.
There's just tactics that they use. We've seen it in the Tri-Cities. We have that light fuel, but in wind it is driven fast. The training and everything that everybody has done over the years, and it's not anything new to us. We go through and train each year on wildfire tactics and different things, but everybody did a really good job making stands around houses and that type of thing. I would say the biggest thing that we've had even a few years ago where we lost some structures up in Kennewick on some wind-driven fires, the biggest part of that is public wants to go see what's going on, but that hinders the fire department in us getting to where we can get to.
Yeah, that's a huge...
Unless you're evacuating, you really need to stay off of the roads and stay out of the neighborhoods because it really hinders us. And in times where the fire is moving that quickly, we don't have a whole lot of time to get from structure to structure.
Gotcha.
Because we're basically trying to save that structure and then we're moving on. We're kind of leapfrogging around to try to make that fire go around the structure or put it out before it hits it. And when we have thousands of citizens out there with cars, just being looky-loos, looking around, it really hinders the fire operations.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
I just read today, Spokane County, 6 people actually got arrested for going into evacuation zones.
Oh.
While the crews were still fighting.
Right. And like you just said, that when you need to go quickly and don't have time to move people out of the way. Makes a lot of sense.
It makes it a lot tougher for the people that are evacuating too to try to get out of that area as the arterials are clogged with cars, and it makes it a real dangerous time for everybody.
Okay, absolutely. Good advice there. So my last one I wanted to tackle, why we had Don here, and I'm not even sure if you're the right person to ask about this or if people have been saying this to you, but I've had a number of people say this to me, I think more often in the last 3 years. And they're always asking somebody else that has lived in Tri-Cities from the 80s or the 90s. And they're asking, it seems like every year for the last 3 years, we have just been inundated for weeks with smoke. And the question always is, was it like this in the 90s? Was it like this in the 80s? I mean, John, you've been here a long time as well,
I grew up
too.
here from 66, back and forth, out and back in.
Is this wildfire situation, and, Don, I'm going to ask you, I don't get all the I don't get Firefighter Monthly magazine. Is this a subject? I'm sure we won't answer it today, but what are the factors around what is happening in the Northwest?
I think the factors are weather, obviously, blowing the smoke in from different areas, depending on where it is. Sometimes you'll hear that, the smoke's coming from the Oregon fires, and then all of a sudden it's coming from the Canadian fires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously our winds don't normally, go back and forth. They have a pattern. So I don't know. I've been here since 91. I don't know that it's getting any worse or any better. But you're right. We have had periods where, you look at the news and the news tells you, hey, it's not safe to be outside all the time. It's too smoky, that type of situation. It does seem like it has been more often in the last few years. And I don't know what that contributes to.
Gotcha.
There's a whole bunch of variables. I mean, we even, growing up around here, we had our share of fires and stuff, but you have to look at weathers. Has it been dry for a couple of years? Has it been really wet?
Yeah.
The years that we've had really rainy winters, and then later in the spring, you get all the vegetation from the mild weather. But if you have a wet spring and summer, nobody ever talks about it. But if it gets dry,
Yep.
And I would say the last 2 or 3 years just being here, we have not had a very hard winter. Last year, I don't know that we even had snow that stuck around for more than 2 or 3 hours.
No, we didn't. I spent 2 days getting the snow blowers and everything ready and just stared at them all winter.
And back in 91, when I first came here from Spokane, obviously we had a little bit more snow there. Everybody was telling me we never got any snow here. And in 91, I remember we did get quite a bit of snow here.
we've had some years.
We've had some years where, that makes a difference.
And
for
not
sure.
just area specific to the Tri-Cities, but I mean, as a whole, this winter, Spokane didn't get much. Nobody around us did. So all that vegetation is growing at a higher rate. It's a lot drier. It doesn't have that moisture. You're going to get these fires that are going to burn a lot quicker and a lot hotter.
Yeah, and I remember. I still talk to a lot of these farm guys, and we had a pretty wet spring, and even some of their wheat crops, they're like, "Oh man, this is the best dryland wheat I've had because we had such a wet spring. It grew very, very well, and then now it's been no moisture, so that makes it tough for sure. And I think some of it is how it's presented in the media as well. We're more aware of, I don't remember ever knowing what the air quality index
we didn't
was.
have the clean air when I was growing up around here in the 60s and 70s. We didn't have the clean air agency.
So we don't know what that might have been for sure.
But we used to follow a mosquito spray guy on our bikes when they used to spray in the 70s.
That's what happened to you. I wondered what happened to you, John.
They used to go around and they had mosquito spray trucks. You old Tri-Cityans will remember this. And I had friends that would ride through the smoke behind the truck.
That's the best line I've ever heard on this show, John.
And I'm not advocating that. No, they don't do that anymore.
Definitely not. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, Don, I know you're busy. It's still fire season and crazy. So from, myself and the listeners, I want to thank you for coming out and giving those tips. If that even helps one person avoid, a disaster with a fire, I'm glad to help out our listeners. And thanks again also for all you guys do and keeping us safe. And you're going to have to come back for another show. I had 3 more controversial questions, one of them involving fireworks, but we don't have enough time today. so I'm going to take a rain check and hopefully get you back in a couple months.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks a lot. And we'll be right back here talking real estate.